Hey everybody, it's Heather Nichols here, and I am coming to you from an airport. I'm on my way from California to Seattle. Christmas just finished, and moving on from family time to something different. And I've been playing a lot and looking at a lot over the past few days, some stuff, and had some really cool awarenesses that I wanted to share based on some conversations we've been having recently in Access Consciousness about stories, and how we interact with each other based on our stories, and how we play out our stories with each other. And this is definitely something that would apply to family time or just this time of year where we tend to be around people more. There's so many stories that we tell ourselves and that we tell each other, and there's even a lot of stories around which we have created our entire reality. The stories that we perpetuate are, there's lots of them, and they also kind of have, there's a lot of themes that get played out. And this is like how kind of the stuff that we construct our lives around, and we don't even realize it. Stories around money, stories around bodies, stories around relationships, stories around what we can and can't do, what is and is not possible, how we need to be with each other, how we can't be with each other, how we can't be with ourselves. So many different storylines that are constantly running the show. And when you have a family, or you have, people that are like your people in your life, usually you're drawn together around various stories. I mean, there's lots of stories that are maintained in families, if we look specifically at family. And, they're the kind of like cherished, precious stories that you're not really allowed to go beyond. And there's also, like, within those storylines, a lot of scripts of like how we need to respond to people. And it could be based on what you say, it could be based on what you do, it could be based on the energy that you bring. But it's like so often we don't even realize it, but the way that we interact with people is by really, it's based on this energetic script of how we can and cannot respond, how we must and must not respond. And the scripts basically like maintain themselves. They feed each other and they maintain each other. And I think this is why a lot of times when we get around family, we feel like we can't really be ourselves, because there's such a deep, defined script of how we have to be with the people that we call our family, and the stories that we have to maintain. And it tends to feel, for a lot of people, quite limiting, because you feel like you can't really be you in the way that you would like to be you. And for so many people, we also just take that out into the world, and it goes beyond family, and it goes into everything. I mean, you can look at that with business and the people that you work with, and, your clients or your employer or your, like coworkers, whatever your, job situation may be. It's something that like works its way into every interaction and every relationship that we have with each other. And there's something available beyond that. But it's something that we have to get present with and choose. And it involves actually also the willingness to make people uncomfortable, because if you're not following the script, then the people that you're around, that you're talking to and interacting with, they're not really going to know what to do with you. They're not going to know how to respond to you. And you betray the stories. You betray all the storylines when you don't follow the script. You make people uncomfortable, they get confused. And the good news is this is actually how we create more consciousness, because when people go into question, even if it's just confusion, they can't function from conclusion. They're functioning more from consciousness, more from question, more from not being able to have any sort of fixed reality, because you just blew it up. But so many of us are not willing to be that and do that with the people in our lives. Well, what else is possible? What could you choose this time of year and beyond that would allow you to have the freedom to be in the world, move in the world, speak in the world, do in the world what is true for you, what you know is going to create something greater. And it's not about trying to get people to, agree or align with you on, how you see the world, or get people to choose to be more conscious, because that usually backfires. But giving yourself the gift of the freedom to be you, beyond the scripts, beyond the stories, beyond the storylines, beyond right and wrong, good and bad, and really exploring a different way of being that starts with ourselves, being with ourselves in a different way that allows us to be with the world in a different way. And the funny thing is, the very thing that so often we don't allow ourselves to do that because we think, we don't want to create the discomfort in the people around us. But the amazing thing that can show up is that people actually lean in to the space, and they want more of that space because it doesn't have any definition to it. It doesn't have any predetermined outcome. There's space, there's possibility, there's contribution, and then people get to actually choose something different and be something different. And a lot of times it just melts the whole situation in a way that you could never do if you were thinking about it. So if it's interesting to you, you can just ask to be more of you, ask to be beyond the scripts, beyond the stories, beyond the storylines, and to be something that is a difference, and a difference in the world, and more of the greatness of you. Even if you're the only one that receives it, it's one of the greatest gifts we can give to ourselves, and it translates into the world in ways that we can't even fathom. So I hope this was a contribution to you. Have beautiful holidays. Happy New Year. What else is possible?